The number of foreign nationals staying in Korea for study, work, or travel has topped 2.8 million for the first time, with the number of visitors on tourist visas receiving an unusual post-summer boost driven by the global rise of K-pop and Korean culture.
유학이나 취업, 관광 등의 목적으로 국내에 체류하는 외국인이 처음으로 280만 명대를 넘어선 가운데 관광 비자를 받아 입국한 외국인 수는 K-팝과 한국 문화의 세계적인 인기에 힘입어 여행 성수기인 여름철이 지난 후에도 이례적으로 증가한 것으로 나타났습니다.
Yeah, so the number of non-Korean nationals in Korea across the board has increased. If you look at data according to immigration officials, that 2.8 million is up 3.6% compared to September. And if you break it down even more, long-term visitors have increased 6.3%. Short-term visitors are up 2.7%. Foreigners on seasonal work visas are up almost 60%.
Wow.
And those on student visas are up 22%. So, so across the board, there are short-term, long-term students, seasonal workers. It's increasing here in Korea.
Yeah, but the harvest season, of course, that's what I think the seasonal workers are here to do, to help reap the fruits or the crops.
Sure. We're talking just any season too, right? But
Okay,
in
yeah.
the autumn, of course, it would be crops in farms and places like that. But, usually the summertime is when there's a big jump in the number of tourists. People are obviously on summer vacation, students, etc. But still, that number is increasing. And they're saying because of the popularity of K-pop, I think one specific movie, K-pop Demon Hunters, has done a lot to also help these numbers as well. So the October tally is up 38% from September, but also compared to last year as well. It's up 22%.
그래요. 단기 체류자든 장기 체류자든 여행객이든 아니면은 이 계절성 단기 일을 하러 온 외국인이든 across the board 통틀어서 전반적인 숫자가 280만을 찍은 것은 이번이 처음입니다. 더군다나 지금 여름 시즌이 지났기 때문에 보통은 이제 숫자가 조금 떨어질 때인데 그렇지 않은 거죠. 역시 그 K-팝과 캐대원의 역할이 대단했다는 생각이 들어요. Let's have a look at some expressions here.
Sure.
National?
Yeah, so national, normally when we use it as an adjective, we're talking about across the country. But here as a noun, a national is a person belonging to a certain country, but usually by citizenship or by legal status. Right?
그러니까 나는 한국 국적자입니다를 외국에 나가서 얘기하고 싶으면 I'm a Korean national 이라고 할 수 있어요. A Korean American may not necessarily be a Korean national. They may be Korean by blood, but maybe on the passport it says they're American.
Right.
So then they're a US citizen or an American national,
Right.
but they are still Korean. So there's a distinction.
Right. When you go through the airport, I actually came in from overseas over the weekend. There's, of course, the line for Korean nationals, and then you have foreign nationals. Yeah.
그래요. Korean nationals, 한국 국적자, 내국인이 되겠죠, 우리 입장에서는. 그다음에 foreign nationals, 그러면 외국 국적자. 그래서 이 national이라는 명사가 어떤 국적을 가진 사람을 말합니다. And what about receiving a boost?
Yeah, when you receive a boost is something that goes up, right?
Yeah.
So when you receive a boost, you're getting help or you're getting support or you're improving something. It raises something. Things like here we're talking about numbers, right? But it could be performance. Someone's reputation could receive a boost as well, right?
It's going up, up.
Yes, there you go.
Receiving a boost. 그래서 힘을 얻어가지고 올라간다라는 뜻이 되겠죠.
Can you hit that high note?
No.
Sue, no?
I don't think so. I wouldn't want to give it a go.
고음, yes.
자, 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. The number of foreign nationals staying in Korea for study, work or travel has topped 2.8 million for the first time, with the number of visitors on tourist visas receiving an unusual post-summer boost, driven by the global rise of K-pop and Korean culture. Let's move on to the next headline.
Single-person households made up over 36% of all households in the country last year, according to the Ministry of Health and Welfare, with 1/3 of them consisting of people aged 65 or older.
지난해 국내 1인 가구가 전체 가구에서 차지하는 비율이 36%를 돌파했으며 이 중 3분의 1이 65세 이상 노인 독거 가구인 것으로 집계됐습니다.
Yeah, the precise number is just over 8 million households. That's 36% of all households, like the headline suggests, and it's been continuously increasing. So this year it's 36.1%. Just in 2020, it reached the 30% mark. And 10 years ago, in 2015, it was 27%. And what experts are saying is that by the year 2042, so less than 20 years, that number is going to hit 9.9 million households, single-person households. So
Almost one-fifth of the country.
almost one-fifth of the country, although you could say by then the population may have also decreased as well.
Yeah.
But, you know, when I think single-person household, I think, for some reason, I think young people, just out of, you know, college perhaps, they've just left the coop, you
Yep.
know, as they say. But a lot of these single-person households are seniors, aged 65 or older, because seniors account for 1/5 of all the population, right? So 10 million for the first time, 10 million households, 10 million people are 65 or older. So the vast majority of these households are seniors.
자, 그러니까 1인 가구가 지금 현재 한 800만 명 정도라고 하셨나요? 8
Yes, 8
million.
million, yeah.
8 million people. 그런데 그 중에서 또 3분의 1이 65세 이상이라는 겁니다. They make up a third of the single household
Yes.
group.
Makeup not as what you put on your face, cosmetics, but when you make up something, it's formed of something, it's composed, right? Or it constitutes a larger whole. So
Yeah.
the parts to the whole.
무엇을 구성한다, 이룬다 라는 의미로 여기서는 make up를 썼어요. 그래서 1인 가구가 전체 가구의 36%를 차지한다.
Yeah.
또 그 안에서도 65세 이상이 3분의 1을 차지한다. 그럴 때도 다 메이크업으로 표현을 할 수 있거든요. Single person households make up 36% of all households. People over 65 or 65 and older, they make up a third of all single person households. 이렇게요.
Right. And that's very similar to the other expression here,
Yeah.
consists of,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
So to consist of something is, again, you're formed or you're made up of specific parts or elements. So A consists of B, C, D, and E, right?
그러니까 make up하고 consist of가 어떻게 다르냐면은 A makes up 무엇 해가지고 무엇을 이루는지 single person households make up 36%. 그래서 36%를 구성하는 거, 만드는 거죠.
Yeah.
자, 그 다음에 이제 consist of something이라는 것은 그 내용을 얘기해야 돼요. 36%가 뭔지. So 36% of the people consist of single person households.
Right. So a good example here is, let's say for this morning special team, you could
Okay.
say women make up 60% of the morning special team.
Okay.
But the morning special team consists of 60% of women. Right?
Yeah. 그렇게 그렇게 표현할 수도 있겠네요.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the morning special team consists of
5 women, for example.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
그래요. 그래서 비슷한 표현입니다. Make up something 무엇을 이루다, consist of something 무엇으로 이루어져 있다. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. Single person households made up over 36% of all households in the country last year, according to the Ministry of Health and Welfare, with 1/3 of them consisting of people aged 65 or older.
Hong Kong officials and residents held a moment of silence at the start of a 3-day mourning period declared on Saturday to remember those killed in the city's deadliest fire in nearly 80 years, which engulfed 7 tower blocks.
고층 아파트 7개 동을 집어삼킨 화마로 홍콩에서 거의 80년 만에 대형 참사로 기록될 지난주 화재 사고 이후 토요일부터 사흘간 공식 애도 기간이 선포된 가운데 첫날 홍콩 당국자들과 시민들이 희생자를 기리며 묵념했습니다.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen those horrific images of those towers that were burning. And our thoughts and prayers, of course, go out to not just the victims and their families, but the entire city, I think. Hong Kong is really reeling from this tragedy right now. What we've seen is the government setting up memorial points across the city where the public can pay their respects and sign condolence books. We know that at least 128 people people perished in those towers. A further 83 injured, 150 remain unaccounted for. Already, nearly a dozen people have been arrested, actually, on corruption and negligence and manslaughter charges as well. The cause of the fire, of course, is yet to be determined, but some, I think, prematurely, perhaps, are blaming sort of the bamboo scaffolding and the flammable materials. But if you've ever been to Hong Kong, these bamboo scaffolding, it's just synonymous with the city, right? So to really just blame that, I think, is really short-sighted, in my opinion. I think we should wait for the official investigation results to come out. But nonetheless, it's just very tragic and horrible that this had to happen.
I mean, the scaffolding probably made it worse, but I don't know if it was the initial cause of the fire.
Well, they were saying that these apartment buildings were under construction for over a year, and what you can still see the images, but they had this material covering the facade of the building, and it looked like some of the images I've seen is the flames really spreading very quickly. So whether this material was allowed or not, this will probably all be coming out in the investigation.
Yeah, well, the number of casualties seems to be going up as we speak. Let's have a look at this expression here, to hold a moment of silence.
Yes, so what authorities there have done is when you hold a moment of silence, you're sort of pausing and remaining quiet for a short time to respect or to mourn, as a sign of solidarity, as they say, right, for the victims of a tragedy or someone important who has died. I remember in Korea's case, after the Itaewon tragedy a couple of years ago, there was an official period of mourning that was declared in the country here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. 묵념하는 것을 holding a moment of silence라고 합니다. What about to engulf?
Yeah, when you engulf, E-N-G-U-L-F, it means you completely surround something where something is so overwhelmed by it, right? And oftentimes it's in a very negative sort of context because, like in this case, fires engulfs things. A tsunami can engulf. But also emotionally, you can say like grief engulfed the person's emotions, things like that.
완전히 에워싸고 있는 감정이나 아니면은 이 뉴스에서 나온 것처럼 화마 이런 것들을 이제 표현할 때 동사 engulf를 씁니다. The fire engulfed 7 tower blocks.
Yes.
A person could be engulfed, I don't know, with grief,
in pain,
grief, anger, 이런 것들 감정으로 또 이렇게 휩싸일 수 있죠. 자, 그럼 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Hong Kong officials and residents held a moment of silence at the start of a 3-day mourning period declared on Saturday to remember those killed in the city's deadliest fire in nearly 80 years, which engulfed 7 tower blocks. Let's move on to the next headline.
Airlines worldwide canceled and delayed flights over the weekend after aircraft manufacturer Airbus ordered immediate repairs on 6,000 A320 family jets in a recall affecting more than half of the global fleet.
항공기 제조사 에어버스가 현재 운항 중인 A320 계열 여객기 전체 숫자의 절반이 넘는 6천여 대를 대상으로 대규모 리콜 명령을 내리면서 지난 주말 사이 세계 곳곳에서 항공기 결항 및 지연 사태가 빚어졌습니다.
Yeah, it's one of the largest recalls by Airbus in its history. And it is a precautionary measure right now. It appears to be a software issue. And I think these planes are being, what they're saying is if you go back to the older version of the software, it helps. But these fixes are taking place as we speak. When this recall was announced, there were actually 3,000 of these A320 jets in the air at that moment. So you can see just how widespread these jets are used. The A320 is sort of a mid-sized jet that is it's a workhorse. It's used very often across the world. Some unfortunate news for Airbus because just a couple of weeks ago, the A320 actually surpassed the Boeing 737 as the most delivered model in the world right now. But of course, the most important thing is safety is paramount, according to the EASA, the European Aviation Safety Agency.
Paramount라고 하면은요, 정말 꼭대기에 산 정상에 있는 것을 연상하시면 되는데
Yeah.
그만큼 이제 안전이 중요하다라는 뜻이 되겠죠.
There's that movie production company.
Yeah.
And if you look at their logo, it's actually a mountain, right?
Yeah.
Very
Because
good.
Paramount is at the top of that mountain. That means, in this case, safety is paramount, means safety is the most important thing. 이 A320 항공기들이 지금 한 6천여 대가 리콜이 되는 엄청난 규모의 리콜입니다. 물론 예방책이에요. It is a precautionary measure. 소프트웨어 결함으로 인해서 혹시라도 문제가 생길까봐 전부 다 들여다본다라는 얘기인데요. 이제 전체의 반 정도인데 그 한 6천여 대를 전부 다 들여다본다. 자, let's have a look at immediate repairs.
Yeah, so they called for immediate repairs, meaning that these fixes or this maintenance had to happen right away because of, in this case, it was precautionary. But if there's damage or danger or anything urgent, you would do an immediate repair, right?
당장 하는 즉각적인 수리, immediate repairs. What about affect?
Yeah, this one's, you have to be careful of the spelling because, of course, as a verb, it's affect, A-F-F-E-C-T. The noun form is E-F-F-E-C-T. For all intents and purposes, the pronunciation is the same. So a lot of native speakers will get the spelling wrong. Although the noun form, some people for emphasis will say effect. But I think the effects of whatever.
Yeah, and it affects something.
It affects something. I pronounce
Very
it the same
similar.
way.
Yeah.
Right.
맞아요. 자, 동사 영향을 미치다는 A로 쓰죠. To affect. 그 다음에 명사 무엇의 효과, 무엇의 결과 이런 의미로는 E를 써가지고 effect라고
Right.
하는데 발음이 매우 비슷해서 원어민도 스펠링이 틀리는 경우가 있긴 있거든요.
Yeah.
근데 여기서 A, affect 얘기하고 있습니다.
Yeah. It essentially means to influence. The noun form is the result of that influence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
자, 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Airlines worldwide cancelled and delayed flights over the weekend after aircraft manufacturer Airbus ordered immediate repairs on 6,000 A320 family jets in a recall affecting more than half of the global fleet. Here's our final headline.
Iran has stopped electricity production at one of its largest dams as the country's worst drought in 60 years drives reservoir water levels to record lows.
60년 만에 최악의 가뭄을 겪으면서 많은 저수지들이 사상 최저 수위를 기록 중인 이란에서 최근 자국 내 최대 댐도 적정 수위 미달로 전력 생산을 중단한 것으로 알려졌습니다.
Yeah, apologies for that. I
That's
hit the
okay.
mic on that while you were speaking here. But this dam, the Karke Dam, apologies for the pronunciation if I butchered that, but it's one of the biggest earthen dams in the world. Earthen dam meaning it's built along this big embankment. But what's happening here is that the current water level is 40 meters lower than the natural operating level for electricity production. And what that means is the reservoirs here, it supplies water to many provinces, and they've been holding prayers, calling for more rain because obviously this region needs rain, but they've been suffering chronic dry spells and heat waves probably due to climate change. And they're even looking into these sort of cloud seeding operations to induce rainfall because it's in short supply right now.
Absolutely. And this is the worst drought since records began 60 years ago.
Yeah.
As it says here, let's have a look at worst drought in 60 years.
Yeah, so drought is, of course, a period of extremely low rainfall or water shortage. So if it's the worst, it means it's the most severe in whether here it's 60 years, but it could be any time period, you can say, right?
네, worst drought, D-R-O-U-G-H-T, 최악의 가뭄인데요. In 60 years, 60년 만에가 되겠습니다. 이제 이게 정기적으로 기록을 시작한 것이 바로 60년이 됐고요.
Yeah.
기록한 이래로 이 정도의 가뭄이 있었던 적은 없었습니다.
Right. I have a question actually on the spelling of drought, right? D-R-O-U-G-H-T. In Britain, you just pronounce it as drought?
Yeah.
Right.
Drought.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then
so.
My question is, so like beer, D-R-A-U-G-H-T,
Yeah.
you pronounce that
Draft.
draft.
Yes.
Okay, go figure. Because in North America, draft beer is just spelled D-R-A-F-T. But,
Oh, right, right.
But
you're
in
actually
Britain,
right.
it's D-R-A-U-G-H-T.
Yeah, there is no logic to some of these pronunciations.
Yeah. It just
the way it
came
is.
to my mind, so I thought I'd ask.
네,
We digress.
we do. And what about to drive something, to something?
To drive something. In this case, what we're talking about is it's causing or pushing something or leading something to some sort of particular condition, usually very extreme or significant, I would say. So you could say, rising temperatures are driving demand, right, for air conditioning, for instance.
Drive something이라는 것은 뭐뭐 하도록 하다, 뭐뭐 하게 만들다. 이라는 뜻이 되겠죠.
Right. Inflation is driving food prices up. I guess that's another economic. Oh no, that's another. Okay, yeah. In any case, that works.
그렇죠. Inflation, 물가 상승으로 인해서 food prices have been driven up. 음식의 가격이 올라가도록 만든 거죠. 물가 상승이. 여기서는 the worst drought is driving reservoir water levels to record lows.
Right. I remember during COVID, the pandemic drove unemployment rates to record levels, right?
Yeah, definitely. And travel came to a standstill.
Yeah.
It drove travel to come to a standstill.
Right.
그런 식으로 표현을 할 수 있겠습니다. 이란에서 최악의 가뭄으로 인해서 저수지의 지금 워터 레벨도 너무나 낮은 것도 문제지만 전력 생산을 지금 이제 하지 못할 정도입니다. 그 댐에서 그 정도가 됐어요.
Right. I wanted to give another example because these are all employment related issues, but like your children can drive you to insanity sometimes, right?
Yes.
So it means it's the cause
Drive
of
you crazy.
It drives me. She drives me crazy.
That's the expression
Britney
we use.
Spears, right?
It was
She
what
drives
was that?
me crazy.
Oh,
yes.
that's right.
There you go.
맞아요. Drive someone crazy라는 표현이 있어요. 그러면은 누구 때문에 미치겠어 이런 뜻이 되겠죠. 그때도 drive. 자, 그럼 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Iran has stopped electricity production at one of its largest dams as the country's worst drought in 60 years drives reservoir water levels to record lows.
Korea's exports rose more than 8% in November from a year earlier, reaching a record high for the month and marking the sixth straight month of record-breaking performance.
지난달 우리나라 수출이 지난해보다 8.4% 늘어나 11월 기준 역대 최대치를 기록하면서 6개월 연속 해당 월 기준 역대 최대 실적 기록을 이어갔습니다.
We need to hire someone to clean up because there's been a lot of records broken this year. This is 6 months continuous, consecutive record-breaking exports.
Wow.
So things are going very, very well. And according to the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Resources, it was up 8.4% last month to $61.04 billion, highest it's ever been for November. So it's very, very good.
I imagine semiconductors had something to do with it.
Yes, they're a big export. They surged by 38.6% year over year. That's hitting nearly $17.3 billion. That's also a new monthly high. And automobiles are doing very well. Their exports were growing by 13.7%. So that's now up to $16.4 billion. I think many people were worried this year about US tariffs, about how they might have an effect on the automobile industry, on the semiconductor industry. So far, things are okay. We'll see what happens. Also, imports are up, but just a little bit, by 1.2% on year. They're up to $51.3 billion for November. And that means we have a trade surplus at the moment, $9.73 billion. Seems like Korea's doing pretty well in the export business.
그러네요. 수출 실적이 좋습니다. 11월 기준 역대 최대치 기록. 작년에 비해서 8.4%가 늘어난 수출인데 그럼 왜 어떤 것들이 이렇게 수출 실적을 올렸느냐? 아무래도 반도체, semiconductors or chips라고도 하죠. 그 다음에 이제 자동차 수출도 큰 역할을 했습니다. Let's have a look at a record high for the month.
Yes, well, we're talking about record breakers here. And if we have a record high, that means it's the highest it's been. And if we say for the month, there's two meanings for this could be.
Okay.
One, it's for the month every year, which is the case in this case. So it's the highest for any November so far. But it could just be for this month. Oh, Sue, we hit a high for the month. Meaning on this month we've hit that high there. So it depends on context. You have to look at the sentences around it. But generally speaking, it's probably going to be referring to the month every year. In this case, it's going to be a high for the month of November.
A high. 최고치라는 뜻이죠. When we talk about temperatures as well.
Yes.
We talk about today's highs and
Absolutely,
lows.
yes.
high and low가 이렇게 명사로 쓰일 때는 가장 높은 수치, 가장 낮은 수치가 되겠죠. record high는 기록적인 높은 수치니까요. 최고치가 되겠습니다. For the month, 해당 월 기준 최고치. What about, again, we have the word record.
Yes.
Record-breaking performance.
Well, if something is record-breaking, that means it's broken the record. It's done better or worse. It's got higher or lower or bigger and smaller than ever before. And if it's a performance, we're not talking about a stage, we're not talking about TV or movies, we're talking about how it has performed, meaning has it done well, has it done badly. In this case, a record-breaking performance means it's doing very well.
Sure. Record-breaking performance. 기록을 깨는 그런 이제 퍼포먼스 하면 우리가 사실 공연 생각할 수도 있겠지만
that's the meaning that we often use. But if you think about the performance of a car, if you look at reviews of the new cars coming out, they often talk about the car's performance, and that's how well it works, how well it drives, its top speed, and so on.
네.
That's how we use performance as well.
그래요. 그래서 성과 라는 의미로 볼 수 있겠죠.
And if you want to rate our performance, you can go onto the Bandy app.
우리의 지금 방송하는 것 이것도 하나의 퍼포먼스라고 볼 수 있고요. 퍼포먼스가 꼭 공연이나 이런 무대에 올라가는 것이 아니라는 거. 네. 학생한테도 이제 퍼포먼스라는 단어 쓸 수 있고 선생님도 그렇고 그 자신의 일을 하는 것 그것도 다 퍼포먼스입니다.
We use good performance, but in the case of students, I don't think we'd say bad performance. We'd say poor performance.
Poor performance. That's the opposite of good in this case. Let me read the headline again. Korea's exports rose more than 8% in November from a year earlier, reaching a record high for the month and marking the 6th straight month of record-breaking performance. Let's move on to the next headline.
Flu cases in Japan are climbing faster than last year, particularly among children, with the country's health ministry noting that roughly 80% of the cases reported in the week through November 9th were among people under 20.
일본에서 독감 환자가 어린이 및 청소년을 중심으로 작년보다 더 빠른 증가세를 보이는 가운데 호생노동성은 11월 9일까지 일주일 동안 집계된 독감 환자의 약 80%가 20세 미만이었다고 발표했습니다.
There's a lot of flu about here in Korea, but there's a lot in Japan. We're talking 196,000 or close to 197,000 cases just in a week. The week through November 23rd, it was 1.35 times the previous week's number, and we're seeing a lot of young people getting flu. 80% at the start of November were under the age of 20. So a lot of teenagers, a lot of children are getting flu, and we've seen a shortage of beds in some hospitals, especially in Tokyo and the Saitama prefecture. And the dangerous thing is that flu doesn't necessarily just end with flu. There are also other cases where it can develop into a more serious condition.
How interesting. You say flu, no article, just flu, not the flu?
It depends on the context
again.
Okay. Yes.
All right.
Cases of flu, I would say. Yeah.
I think in that case, sure.
Yes.
I think, though, I would probably say a lot of children, a lot of people under 20 are getting the flu. But is that okay as well?
Did I say get flu?
Yes.
Oh, well, then I correct myself.
Okay.
I get the flu.
I'm
terribly sorry because we sometimes drop an article here and there and we all make mistakes. And
no, I was just
I'm going to
curious.
fly. I'm flying soon.
I thought maybe that was a different way that I wasn't familiar with.
No, I'm just terrible.
No. You are definitely not that, Paul. You know that. Okay, so flu cases in Korea as well. We see, every year and right now as well, when flu cases are abound, it's usually children that catch it the most because, they're in close contact and, younger children, they maybe have runny noses and they, we're close to each other.
And you know what they say? Coughs and sneezes spread diseases.
Oh, really? I like that. It rhymes as well.
It does. A very old saying. But it's so true.
Coughs and sneezes.
Spread diseases.
좋네요. 요거 기억하면은 또 재밌을 것 같아요. 물론 이 상황이 재밌진 않지만 이 saying이 재밌네요. 왜냐면 라임이 돼서.
Yeah, but it's, I mean, winter is a time for flus and colds and not the flu in this case. I said flus because there are different kinds.
Right.
But yes, I've had friends whose child's class, almost all of them have been off at the same time at one point because everybody got the flu.
그래요. 아까 이제 coughs and sneezes cause diseases 했는데.
Spread diseases.
spread. Sorry. Spreads diseases. cough가 뭐예요? 네, 기침입니다.
네.
sneezes. 그래. 재채기요. 그래서 coughs and sneezes, 기침과 재채기가 질병을 확산시킨다라는 이제 라임이 되는 영어 표현이 있다는 거.
Because it's true. We know
it
that
is true.
a lot of these illnesses are airborne, and if you cough without covering your mouth or you sneeze without covering your nose, there's a good chance you're spreading the infection.
그렇죠. 이렇게 비말로 전염이 되는 많은 경우가 있죠. Let's have a look at some expressions now. Particularly among children.
Yes, if we use the word particularly, we're emphasizing it's especially this. This one is key, or this one is important, or this one is the most of a group. Whatever it may be, we're saying, look at this. Look at where we're pointing to you.
So, I know you like donuts.
Yes.
Is there a one you particularly like?
I particularly like a glazed donut. Simple but sweet.
그래요. 특히. 라는 뜻이죠. 선생님이 특히 좋아하는 도넛은 그냥 일반 도넛 위에다가 이제 설탕 녹여가지고 glazed로 한 거. 요거 저도 그 도넛 좋아해요. 자, 다음으로 noting. To note.
Yes, if we note something, well, usually we would make a note of it. Literally, we would write it down.
Yeah.
However, when we talk about a health ministry noting something or a government official noting something, it's a public note, is that they're commenting on it. They're pointing it out. They're saying, this is what is happening here. So we've used the term on the show before, noteworthy.
Yeah.
If something is noteworthy, it deserves our attention. And so we use the term note, like I've noted this, or the government noted us of that. They're pointing to important information or an important detail of some kind.
Right. They are saying you should take note
Yes,
of this.
Absolutely. Yes, to take note of something is a very good expression.
자, take note라는 거는요.
Okay, I will. I'm ready.
여기에 주목하라.
여기에 주목해라.
이런 뜻이 있고요.
이런 뜻이 있고요.
원래는 이제 필기하다 하죠.
필기하죠.
그만하셔도
그만하시죠.
네네. 자, 그래서 노트, 우리도 노트 테이킹 한다, 뭐 노트 이게 필기하다 이런 식으로 쓰는데 그게 뭐냐면은 중요하니까 우리가 필기하는 거겠죠. 아무거나 다 필기하진 않잖아요. 선생님이 말하는 뭐 조사 하나하나 필기하진 않는단 말이에요. 중요한 거, 뭐 몇 년도에 무슨 일이 있었구나 이런 거 하는 것처럼 자, 노트가 들어가면 좀 중요하다는 뜻이 있어요. So the health ministry is noting. 자, 이렇게 특별히 언급을 하고 있는 겁니다. 그래서 이런 지적을 한다든지 언급을 하면서 특히 지금 독감 환자가 일본에 많이 발생했는데 특별히 아이들, 20세 미만 청소년들이 많이 걸리고 있다라는 것을 언급을 하고 있습니다.
Yeah.
They are noting that.
Exactly. You could change the word to warning, but that might be more scary.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
in this kind of article, you don't want to scare people, but and the government doesn't want to scare people,
그쵸.
but they're wanting people to pay attention.
맞아요. 그래서 해석할 때는 그냥 이렇게 뭐 언급을 했다 이렇게만 하면 되는데 이제 뉘앙스는 중요하니까 언급한다는 뉘앙스를 기억하시면 됩니다.
Noted.
오케이. 자, 알아들었다라는 뜻이에요. 여기서는 noted. Well noted. 이렇게 할 수도 있어요. 잘 알아들었다. 자, 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Flu cases in Japan are climbing faster than last year, particularly among children, with the country's health ministry noting that roughly 80% of the cases reported in the week through November 9th were among people under 20.
Separate weather systems, including a rare tropical storm, have unleashed torrential, extended rainfall and devastating floods across Sri Lanka, Indonesia, Thailand and Malaysia, killing nearly 1,000 people and counting.
스리랑카, 인도네시아, 태국, 말레이시아 지역에 이례적인 열대성 폭풍을 포함한 여러 기상현상이 겹치면서 집중호우와 대규모 홍수가 발생했습니다. 이로 인해 지금까지 1,000명 가까운 사망자가 나왔으며 이 숫자는 앞으로 더 늘어날 전망입니다. Tell us what's happening.
It's awful. We haven't seen anything like this in Indonesia, for example, since 2018, where there was a huge earthquake and then a tsunami that killed more than 2,000 people in that area. But here it's not just Indonesia, it's also Thailand, Malaysia, and Sri Lanka.
Right.
In Sri Lanka, it's at least 340 people have died there. They've been using military helicopters to try and get to people who've been stranded. They're calling for international aid because they just can't handle it. And it is monsoon season, but this is really rare. It's been this rare tropical storm that has basically come over and dumped a heap of rain onto these countries. One of the big causes, I'm sorry to say, it's the climate crisis. And I've got a feeling we're going to see more of these in the future, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The climate crisis has increased the intensity of storms, and this means we have more and more of these big, heavy rain events, more flooding, more disaster, and hopefully the authorities can save those who need to be saved and recover from this disaster.
Yeah. You just mentioned rain, floods, other weather disasters. We're talking about different weather systems here. It's not a technical system that we're talking about, right?
No, it's talking about the different patterns of the movement of the air. So you know that some days we'll get air from the west or air from the south or air from the east or air from the north. And they move in relatively regular patterns that do move about and do collide sometimes. And then in this case, we have separate weather systems coming together. So we have patterns that merge to make this rare tropical storm. If you're a George Clooney fan, you'll be familiar with this because you saw the film The Perfect Storm about 20 years ago, which was where these weather systems merged to create this super hurricane.
A perfect storm is also a figurative expression, meaning that all bad things that could happen have happened at the same time.
Yes.
It's like a perfect disaster. That's what a perfect storm is. 자, weather system이라고 하는 거는요, 각종 이제 그 날씨와 관련된 현상들을 말합니다. 그래서 이제 대표적인 weather system 하면은 low pressure system, high pressure system 해가지고 이제 저기압, 대기압, 대기압이 아니라 고기압, sorry. 저기압, 고기압. What am I saying?
You got meat on the brain. 고기.
갑자기. 네, 저기압, 고기압 우리가 얘기를 할 때도 다 weather system 얘기를 하는 거거든요.
네.
그래서 그렇게 이해를 하시면 되겠습니다. 그래서 각종 이 현상들이 겹치면서 이렇게 거의 굉장히 안 좋은 상황이 발생하고 있습니다. Let's have a look at something being unleashed.
Yes, if we unleash something, we take it off the leash. And leashes, if you're a pet owner, especially a dog owner, well, I would think you have a few leashes in your house.
Yeah.
Because leashes, or leads, as they're sometimes called, are the pieces of cloth, fabric, string, rope that we tie around the dog's body or neck to keep them under control.
I have a question.
Yes.
You have a cat at home.
Yes.
Do you have a cat leash?
No, she doesn't go outside, so there's
Cats
no
don't
need for
need
it.
leashes.
Some cats have leashes.
Oh, okay.
And their owners literally take them for walks like you would dogs.
Oh.
Outdoor cats don't need leashes because they go out by themselves.
Right.
But Frankie is an indoor cat. I don't think she's very interested in going outdoors, so no leashes involved. When we think of the word unleash, though, it's not a nice word. It's not something that's very calm and gentle.
Yeah.
You have to think of like a guard dog or an attack dog who's on a leash and wants to go and run at whoever it is.
Or a hunting dog.
Or a hunting dog, yes.
Yeah.
Run after
Yeah.
the animal.
Yes.
And when you unleash them, you take the leash off, they break free, and they will go and attack whatever it is. So we use it for something quite aggressive or quite nasty or quite damaging. So like in this case, this storm unleashed torrential extended rainfall and devastating floods. It's not a nice thing. It's a horrible, damaging thing.
그래요. 자, unleash 말 그대로 하면은 목줄을 풀었다라는 뜻인데 여기서 상상해야 될 거는 귀여운 강아지 말고요.
네.
으르렁대고 지금 막 달려가고 싶어하는 사냥개 정도로 생각하시면 될 것 같아요.
네네네.
목줄이 있는데 그걸 목줄을 푸는 순간 어떻게 되겠어요? 엄청나게 달려가겠죠.
맞습니다.
그래서 그런 것처럼 굉장히 무서운 상황이 딱 이렇게 터졌을 때 그런 상황이 unleashing이 됐다라고 얘기를 해요. For some reason, I don't know why, but when I look at this expression or hear it, I think of the song "Who Let the Dogs Out" by Baha Men. Because in the music video, I think loads of dogs, they all suddenly run because they don't have a leash. They just, you know.
They've been unleashed.
They've been unleashed.
Yeah.
그러니까 그런 이제 갑자기 막 달려가는 좀 무서운 상황을 생각하시면 되는데.
Yeah, I think of Shakespeare. I think it's in Henry V where Henry says, "Unleash the dogs of war."
Oh, and then you have a very scary situation.
Yes.
So here we're talking about these different weather systems. They have unleashed rain, floods, and all these terrible weather situations.
Yeah, it's a horrible word used for horrible situations.
Yeah. 자, 그렇다면은 이번에는 숫자 and counting 이걸 좀 볼게요.
Yeah, so we say there've been in this case killing nearly 1,000 people and counting. Or today we've had 10 visitors and counting. Or this morning I've had 5 cups of tea and counting.
Yeah.
And this and counting means the number is already going up. So even though I said 10 or 100 or 1,000 or 5, it's going to be 11 or 1,001,
That's
2, 3, 4.
not the end of it.
It's still going.
Yeah.
It's counting and counting. It keeps on going up.
현재도 계속 증가하고 있다라는 거를요. 숫자 and counting이라고 합니다. 자, 그럼 다시 읽어볼게요. Separate weather systems, including a rare tropical storm, have unleashed torrential extended rainfall and devastating floods across Sri Lanka, Indonesia, Thailand, and Malaysia, killing nearly 1,000 people and counting. Here's our next headline.
China has discovered its largest single gold deposit since 1949, containing an estimated 1,400 tons of reserves in the northeastern province of Liaoning, amid a rally in global gold prices.
전 세계적으로 금값이 오르고 있는 가운데 중국 북동부 리아닝성에서 단일 금광으로는 1949년 이후 가장 큰 규모인 1,400톤 상당의 금 매장지가 발견됐습니다.
It's
Wow.
astonishing. I think if the K-pop Demon Hunters saw it, they'd say it was golden. It's in the Dadonggu deposit is what they're calling it. It's the largest single gold find since the People's Republic of China was founded in 1949. They've not said exactly where it is. They've given it a name, but I think they're keeping it secret for good reason because there's something like 2.586 million tons of gold ore. So there's a chance to get something like 1,444 tons of gold out of it. So gold at the moment has reached record highs, record levels. It's traded at something like 115,000 euros per kilogram.
Yeah, so this is going to be worth a lot.
A lot of money, yes. And people want gold. So China's in the money, as we say. They're going to be making a lot of money from this big gold deposit.
What's a deposit, Paul?
Well, in our normal lives, let's deal with how we normally use it. When we put money into the bank, that's a deposit. So we're putting something into something.
Yeah.
We deposit money into this.
And then when you get it out, you withdraw it.
Exactly. So this is how we use it in normal day English. How we're using it here, though, when we talk about rock, when we talk about mining or digging into the ground, a deposit is an amount, a section of metal or stone or fossils, something that is buried within the rock.
그래요. 자, 이 기사 속에서 말하는 deposit는 어떤 광물의 매장지입니다. 그래서 금이 발견된 곳을 얘기하고 있는 것인데 일상생활 속에서는 우리가 동사로 돈을 입금하다 할 때 deposit money 하고요. 돈을 찾다는 withdraw money라고 합니다.
And we can use it as a noun. I made a deposit.
I made a deposit. 명사로도 이렇게 입금을 했다 할 수 있고요. 자, 그다음에 a rally. We're seeing a rally in gold prices.
Yes, a rally is when something or someone gets better, does better.
Going up,
in this case, goes up again. So it went down and now it's going back up.
그래요. rally라는 거는요, 반등이라는 뜻입니다. 그래서 금값이 계속 오르고 있는 얘기를 하고 있는 거죠. 다시 읽어볼게요. China has discovered its largest single gold deposit since 1949, containing an estimated 1,400 tons of reserves in the northeastern province of Liaoning, amid a rally in global gold prices. Here's our final headline.
Europe's first captive elephant sanctuary is set to open in Portugal, offering former circus and zoo elephants a peaceful retirement in natural surroundings, with the first residents to arrive between January and March next year.
서커스나 동물원에 있던 나이든 코끼리를 수용하는 대규모 보호소가 포르투갈에서 유럽 최초로 운영됩니다. 이 시설에 오는 코끼리는 자연환경에서 노후를 보내게 되며 첫 식구들은 내년 1월에서 3월 사이 이곳에 도착할 예정입니다. Oh, I love this story.
It is. It's the first of its kind in Europe. It's in the Alentejo region in Portugal.
Okay.
It's an organization, non-profit organization called Pangaea, who's organized this. And they're based in both Portugal and the UK. They've got local support as well and national support. And they're hoping that starting early next year, we're going to have perhaps 20 to 30 elephants who will end up there. Not all at once. It's going to start a few at a time.
Sure.
And the idea is get them away from the circus, get them away from the zoo, and put them in a habitat where they can be as they would be in real nature.
Yeah.
So they're trying to give them a free life so they can move freely, they can feed freely, they can socialize freely, just like they do in the wild.
Elephants in circuses and zoos, elephants that are made to do tricks. It just makes me so sad.
Yes.
And so these elephants now, at least they can retire in nature and in this sanctuary.
And they're not going to be able to be visited day after day. There may be special days where visitors will be allowed, but generally they're going to be left in peace.
Yeah, exactly. 자, 이렇게 특별히 그동안의 동물원이나 서커스에서 살던 코끼리들이 일종의 편안하게 은퇴할 수 있는 보호소가 마련된다는 얘기입니다. Okay, so this is not just your average wild elephant. It's a captive elephant.
Yes, and a captive elephant is one that has been captured, one that's been taken from the wild or brought up in captivity.
Yeah.
And we use this word a captive or captivity for wild animals that are not meant to be on a farm or in a home. So we wouldn't say a captive cat or a captive dog. We'd use it for a captive lion, a captive tiger, a captive monkey. And it's saying that they are not free to live wherever they want. They are stuck in one place.
그렇죠. 동물 얘기를 할 때 captive animal이라고 하면은 포획이 돼서 인간이 만든 곳에서 지내게 되는 동물이에요. 그러니까 구체적으로는 동물원에 사는 동물을 captive animals라고 합니다. What's a peaceful retirement?
Well, retirement is when you stop working when you reach a certain age. When you get older and you're not going to work anymore. That's your retirement.
Of course.
And a peaceful retirement is where there's no trouble, there's no noise, there's no fuss, there's no problems. You can just do what you want. Relax.
To retire, 은퇴하다 하죠. Retirement는 노후라고 볼 수 있겠습니다. 평화로운 노후. 다시 읽어볼게요. Europe's first captive elephant sanctuary is set to open in Portugal, offering former circus and zoo elephants a peaceful retirement in natural surroundings, with the first residents to arrive between January and March next year. And that's it for the headlines this morning with Paul Matthews.
Korea's multi-purpose satellite Arirang 7 was successfully launched from a South American space center and has established initial communication with a ground station.
우리나라의 다목적 실용 위성 아리랑 7호가 남미 기아나 우주센터에서 무사히 발사된 후 국내 지상국과 첫 교신에 성공했습니다. Tell us more.
Yeah, so this is the Arirang 7 satellite, and it was successfully launched early Tuesday. It was aboard a Vega C rocket from the Guiana Space Center in French Guiana, and about an hour later, it made initial contact with the Troll Ground Station in Antarctica, allowing engineers to confirm its stable condition and the deployment of its solar panel. The Korea Aerospace Research Institute will declare full mission success after several additional communication checks. And once operational, the Arirang 7 will provide high-resolution optical and infrared images for disaster response, environmental monitoring, and urban heat island analysis.
It's very good news to hear that Arirang 7 was launched successfully. 네, 아리랑 7호 위성이요. 성공적으로 발사가 됐고 첫 교신에도 성공적으로 성공했습니다. 자, 어떤 위성이냐? 다목적 실용 위성인데요. 다목적, multi-purpose.
Yes, multi-purpose. So that means it has several different purposes or several purposes or functions.
Right. Multi-purpose. What about established communication?
So that means it has set up the necessary channels and methods for a productive and effective exchange of information.
To establish something 여러 가지 뜻이 있겠지만 뒤에 communication이 붙었을 때는요. 통신 연결이 이루어졌다. 통신 교신에 성공했다라고 볼 수 있습니다. So this satellite has successfully established communication with a ground station. 자, initial이라는 단어가 또 사이에 들어가는데요. 이제 최초의 초기에라는 뜻이 되겠죠? 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Korea's multi-purpose satellite Arirang-7 was successfully launched from a South American space center and has established initial communication with a ground station. All right, let's move on to the second headline.
Oxford University Press has named rage bait, a term describing online content intentionally created to spark anger or outrage, as its word of the year.
매년 올해의 단어를 뽑는 영국 옥스퍼드 대학교 출판부가 조회수를 늘리기 위해 의도적으로 분노를 유발하는 온라인 콘텐츠를 가리키는 표현, 분노 미끼, rage bait를 2025년의 단어로 선정했습니다.
Yeah. So bait is basically, what you use when you go fishing, when you're trying to get fish to bite your fishing rod. So they chose this word, saying that the term's usage has tripled over the past year. So it's defined as online content crafted to provoke anger and drive engagement. So when people are angry, they see this and it makes them respond more and post up those messages, or maybe post these things more on their site as well, or on their social media as well, and it reflects growing awareness of digital manipulation tactics.
Yeah.
So Oxford Language's president Casper Grathwohl said the shift from attention-grabbing curiosity to emotion-hijacking outrage marks a new phase in online culture, and he added that last year's word brain rot and this year's choice highlights a cycle in which outrage fuels engagement, algorithms amplify it, and users are left mentally drained. Although newly spotlighted, rage bait has been in use since 2002, so it's been quite a while since it's actually been in use, but it just it exploded in use recently, and it originally refers to drivers deliberately provoking others before evolving into modern internet slang.
I mean, we've been quite familiar with the expression clickbait for a while now. And that's when you have a title that makes you go, oh, what's that? What's that? And then you click it and then you find out that it's not really anything. So a lot of celebrities in TV dramas, that they'll be the victim of these things. For example, there'll be something like, I don't know, Celebrity A is soon going to get married with Celebrity B. And you're like, what? And you click it, and it goes, in the TV drama. Okay. Yeah. So that's clickbait. But this time we have rage bait. 자, rage. 그러니까 분노고요. 베이트가 미끼가 되겠습니다. 그래서 기존에 많이 쓰던 그 클릭베이트에 이어서 이번에는 이제 rage bait라는 표현이 상당히 많이 쓰이고 있기도 하고, 옥스퍼드 사전에서 올해의 단어로 뽑을 정도로 온라인상에 분노를 유발해서 조회수를 올리려고 하는 콘텐츠가 참 많았다, 이렇게 보고 있네요.
Yeah, and I wonder if it's just because people have a lot of anger inside of them.
Maybe.
Yeah.
근데 재밌는 건 이제 작년에는 brain rot였는데, brain rot는 뭐, do you know any of the names, the brain rot character names?
No, but
랄라레로 찰라라. 퉁퉁퉁퉁퉁퉁.
Yeah, there's a lot. But it goes along with the whole like doom scrolling, but we're just spending a lot of time aimlessly scrolling along, just looking at these shorts and memes.
맞아요.
But now it's kind of like we want to be angry.
All right, so intentionally some content, some posts will make you angry.
Yes, they're trying to make you angry, right? And that means it's deliberately or on purpose. They're doing it on purpose.
고의적으로, intentionally, on purpose. And to spark anger?
When something sparks anger, it means it causes or provokes a strong, sudden feeling of anger in someone, often as a result of a specific action, comment, or event. In this case, sparking means to ignite or trigger.
그래요. 여기서 말하는 to spark anger라는 것은 분노를 촉발한다가 되겠습니다. 의도적으로 사람들이 화날 만한 글을 올려서 이제 조회수를 높이는 거죠. 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. Oxford University Press has named ragebait, a term describing online content intentionally created to spark anger or outrage, its word of the year.
Swiss tennis legend Roger Federer has been voted into the International Tennis Hall of Fame's class of 2026, capping a storied career that includes 103 tournament titles, a record 310 weeks as the world's number one in men's singles, and both Olympic gold and silver medals.
스위스 출신의 전설적인 테니스 선수 로저 페더러가 테니스 명예전당의 2026년 헌액 대상자로 확정됐습니다. 이로써 페더러는 대회 우승 기록 103회, 남자 단식 세계 랭킹 1위 310주 기록, 올림픽 금메달과 은메달 모두 차지한 자신의 화려한 선수 경력을 최종 마무리하게 됩니다. Tell us more.
Yeah, the GOAT. He is, the greatest of all time in the sport of tennis. So he has been elected to the International Tennis Hall of Fame. He will be inducted as part of the class of 2026 in Newport, Rhode Island in August. And he is a 20-time Grand Slam champion. He's an Olympic medalist, and he was selected in the first year of eligibility after a career that included, as we mentioned, 103 titles and a record 310 weeks as world number one. Federer said the honor is deeply humbling, and he added that receiving the news at Swiss Tennis, where his journey began, made it especially meaningful. So he joins broadcaster Mary Carrillo in the 2026 class with the induction ceremony set for August 27th through 29th. He retired back in 2022 after a final Laver Cup appearance alongside Rafael Nadal. They're rivals.
Well, what a great way to cap one's career.
Yep.
Let's talk about capping your career.
Yeah, so when you are capping something, that means you are providing a very fitting climax or conclusion to something.
It's like putting a cap on something, you're ending it.
Yes.
마무리한다는 뜻이죠. To cap something. And it's not just any career. Roger Federer has had a storied career.
Right. So if you have a storied career, that means that it's one that is famous and notable, often due to a history of significant achievements, remarkable experiences, or historical importance that is retold in stories.
그래요. 전설적이라는 의미가 있는데 storied라고 표현을 해서 이제 사람들이 이야기도 많이 앞으로 계속 할 거고 그동안의 이야기도 많이 있었고 그런 느낌이라고 보시면 될 것 같아요. 자, 그럼 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Swiss tennis legend Roger Federer, has been voted into the International Tennis Hall of Fame's class of 2026, capping a storied career that includes 103 tournament titles, a record 310 weeks as the world number one in men's singles, and both Olympic gold and silver medals. Let's move on to our next headline.
A snail farm in northern France that supplies gourmet restaurants has reported that fresh and frozen snails worth more than $100,000 were stolen from its facilities, dealing a real blow ahead of the holiday season.
프랑스 북부에 위치한 한 식용 달팽이 농장이 10만 달러어치 이상의 생물 및 냉동 식용 달팽이를 도난당했다고 신고했습니다. 프랑스 내 고급 레스토랑에 납품하는 이 업체는 이번 도난 사고로 연말 특수를 앞두고 큰 타격을 입게 됐습니다. Ahead of the holiday season.
I don't know. We keep hearing stories about
theft.
Yeah, brands.
I know.
But yeah, this time it was snails.
Escargot.
Yes, escargot. And as we mentioned, it's ahead of the holiday season where families will be gathering to eat this delicacy.
Yeah?
Yeah. So thieves stole, they say it was $104,000 worth of snails from a northern France farm that supplies gourmet restaurants. It wiped out its entire stock just before the holiday season. They say this farm says that the burglars cut through a fence and broke into its buildings overnight, leaving shelves and fridges nearly empty. The farm called the theft a shock and a real blow, noting that it had stocked just enough to meet Christmas and New Year demand. So police are investigating while the farm races to replenish supplies. The business has served top clients, including Michelin-starred restaurants.
서양에서는 지금 크리스마스를 앞두고 이 기간을 홀리데이 시즌이라고 불러요. 크리스마스 때까지 쭉 이어지는 건데
Yeah.
명절이라고 보시면 되겠습니다.
Yes.
명절 그 당일만 말하는 게 아니고 거의 미국 기준으로 봤을 때는 Thanksgiving
Yeah.
이후부터가 그냥
Yeah.
다 홀리데이 시즌이죠.
Yeah, up until New Year's.
크리스마스 지나고도
Yeah.
뉴이어스까지도
Yeah,
그러네요. 왜냐면
'cause then-
새해도
yeah.
중요한 날이니까. 그래요. 이 홀리데이 시즌 동안에 아무래도 많은 프랑스 시민들이 이 별미인 달팽이 요리를 드실 텐데 이 달팽이가 이렇게나 많이 도난당했어요. So the snails, the escargots, they were supposed to go to gourmet restaurants.
Right.
What's
and
that?
gourmet is spelled Gourmet. There's a T at the end that is not pronounced. So gourmet restaurant, it's basically a high-end dining establishment or restaurant that serves high-quality creative dishes made with fine ingredients and
Yeah.
expert techniques. So the chefs at these gourmet restaurants, they are people who have trained for a very long time, and you might see these Michelin stars at these gourmet restaurants.
그래요. 발음을 gourmet라고 한다는 거 기억해 주세요. 프랑스어이다 보니까 T로 끝나지만 T 발음하지 않습니다. 고급 레스토랑. What about to deal a blow?
To deal a blow. A blow is when you when you hit something, right? So it means to cause some sort of a significant. It could be harm, maybe a setback or damage to someone or something. It's often used figuratively, so it doesn't mean you've actually dealt like a physical hit to someone.
To deal a blow, 충격을 주다. 이게 타격을 주다 이런 뜻인데 비유적으로 여기선 쓰였겠죠. To dealing a blow ahead of the holiday season이라고 표현을 했어요. 그래서 이 명절 시즌을 맞이해서 큰 타격을 입었다. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. A snail farm in northern France that supplies gourmet restaurants has reported that fresh and frozen snails worth more than $100,000 were stolen at its facilities, dealing a real blow ahead of the holiday season. 자, 마지막 헤드라인이 되겠습니다.
A study in the U.S. finds that children who have a smartphone by age 12 are at higher risk of depression, obesity, and insufficient sleep than those who do not yet own one.
미국의 한 연구에 따르면은 12살 이전에 스마트폰을 보유한 아이들이 그렇지 않은 아이들보다 우울증, 비만, 수면 부족 위험이 더 높은 것으로 나타났습니다. So now we have proof that this is bad for you. We've had anecdotal evidence, but tell us more.
Yeah, you can, if you have a child, you can show them this report or you can show them this study. So this was published in Pediatrics, the journal, and it suggests that giving children smartphones before the age of 12 is linked to higher risks of depression, obesity, and poor sleep. So researchers analyzed data from more than 10,500 U.S. children and found that early smartphone owners had worse health indicators, while those who received phones later later also showed declines compared with children who still had none. Experts stress the findings show correlation, not causation, but do note that smartphone use often reduces offline interaction, exercise, and sleep during a very sensitive developmental period. So the lead author called the age crucial, warning that giving a young child a device with internet access carries inherent risks. Specialists advise parents to delay smartphone ownership when possible, as sleep disruption remains one of the most consistently documented concerns.
그래요. 이제 12살 이전에 스마트폰을 보유했는지 안 했는지에 따라서 이렇게 건강상의 결과가 달라질 수 있다라는 연구 결과가 나온 겁니다.
Yeah.
아마 경험상 많은 부모들이 그럴 것 같다라고는 이미 생각을 하셨을 텐데 이렇게 데이터가 나와 있다는 게 유의미하네요.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at be at a higher risk of something.
Yes, be at a higher risk. It means you something is more vulnerable or more likely to experience a negative outcome, such as harm, injury, or a particular disease than others.
무언가가 될 위험에 처했는데 다른 사람들보다 더 높은 위험에 처한 거니까요. Be at a higher risk. What is insufficient?
Insufficient, it means not enough or inadequate.
부족하다. Insufficient sleep. 그러면은 수면 부족이 되겠네요.
Yep.
네, 수면 부족. 영어로는 부족한 잠. 이렇게 순서가 되겠습니다. All right, let me read the headline one more time. A study in the US finds that children who have a smartphone by age 12 are at higher risk of depression, obesity, and insufficient sleep than those who do not yet own one. Well, that's it for the headlines with Karen.
Korea's economy grew at its fastest pace in nearly 4 years in the third quarter, driven by strong exports and a rebound in consumption and investment, according to preliminary data from the central bank.
한국은행이 발표한 3분기 경제 성장률 잠정치에 따르면 소비, 투자 등 내수가 살아나고 수출 호조도 이어지면서 올해 3분기 한국 경제가 15분기 만에 최고 성장률을 보인 것으로 나타났습니다. Loads of stories about the economy on the upside of things. So tell us more.
Yeah, certainly heading in the right direction. This is for the period from July to September. That would be the third quarter. And compared to the second quarter, it rose 1.3% in that period. The figure is 0.1 of a percentage point higher than the Bank of Korea's earlier estimate. And it does mark the strongest quarterly growth since the fourth quarter of 2021. That's when the GDP climbed 1.6% back then. So, yeah, it's good news for the first time in a while.
그래요. 올해 3분기 실적 얘기를 하고 있는데 우리나라 경제가요. 그 전분기인 2분기보다 1.3% 성장했다고 합니다. 이게 이제 분기별 성장세로 봤을 때 2021년 이후 가장 큰 성장률이라고 하는데요. It's the biggest quarterly growth since the fourth quarter of 2021. That's a really long time to not have had such a big growth.
Exactly.
It says here that the economy grew at its fastest pace in many years.
Yeah, the pace is basically how fast you're going. Now, what's the difference between speed and pace, however? Because speed is actually like literally how fast you're going, but pace is kind of like drawn out over a longer period of time. So while the speed that you're going at, well, this is how fast you're going right now at this very moment. Whereas I think of pace as something that's drawn out over a longer period of time. Meaning, if you're on a marathon, then you often talk about people going at a certain pace for a marathon. Whereas if you're going to run a 100-meter sprint, then you're probably not going to pace yourself. You just want to go as fast as you can.
우리 마라톤 하시는 분들도 달리기 하시는 분들은 너무나 익숙한 표현 pace. 이게 우리가 보폭을 조절하는 거죠. 그래서 결과적으로는 속도라고 말을 하긴 하는데 그렇다면 스피드와는 어떻게 다르냐. 스피드도 속도긴 하지만 좀 더 속력의 느낌으로 이해하시면 될 것 같아요. So here it says Korea's economy grew at its fastest pace. That means it grew by the most
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. The growth in which that it's seeing is the greatest amount since this period 4 years ago.
그래요. 그래서 가장 지금까지의 4분기별 성장률 기준으로 봤을 때 이번 3분기가 가장 많이 성장했다. What about preliminary?
Preliminary is like an initial take or an initial view of something. So looking at it right now in the early stages, this is what we can assess. But it might change later on. But, at first glance, at first look, or, well, if I can offer my best opinion for the time being, then that would be like a preliminary assessment. Whereas maybe if you research something with greater detail, then you might find something else.
Right. preliminary는 예비라는 의미가 있어서 특히 우리가 데이터 얘기하면서요. 뭐 예비 조사 결과라든지 예비 이제 정식 발표되는 데이터 전에 나오는 초기의 어떤 데이터라는 의미도 있죠. 그래서 임시라고 하기도 하고 예비라고 하기도 하는데 구체적으로는 우리 스포츠에서도 쓰고요. 네, 지금 이렇게 데이터 관련해서도 쓰는 표현입니다. 스포츠에서는 어떻게 쓰나요?
Yeah, I was just going to mention that in sports we use this quite a bit. Preliminaries are sort of like the beginning of an event.
Yeah.
So maybe if there's a tournament of some sort, the preliminary might be like the first or second round. It doesn't really matter other than just advancing to the next stage,
Exactly.
which might be like the semifinals or the finals. But like that first round where you're trying to separate the real contenders from just the participants is sort of like the preliminary phase.
Yep, exactly. 우리 예선전을 영어로는 preliminary phase or preliminary round라고 표현을 합니다. 그때는 예선이라고 하겠죠. 그 다음에 얘기한 대로 뭐 축구 같은 경우 quarterfinals 그러면은 8강전이죠.
Yeah.
그다음에 semifinals 4강전 그리고 마지막 최종 결승전은 final 이렇게. 자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. Korea's economy grew at its fastest pace in nearly 4 years in the third quarter, driven by strong exports and a rebound in consumption and investment, according to preliminary data from the central bank. All right, let's move on to the second headline.
Britain's Royal Mint has issued a new commemorative coin featuring the late Freddie Mercury mid-performance, head thrown back, and microphone stand in hand to mark 40 years since his iconic Live Aid performance.
영국 왕립 조폐국이 그룹 퀸의 보컬리스트 프레디 머큐리의 모습을 담은 기념 주화를 발행했습니다. 이는 시대의 아이콘으로 남은 그의 라이브 에이드 공연 40주년을 기념한 것으로 무대에서 머리를 뒤로 젖히고 마이크 스탠드를 든 그의 상징적인 포즈를 담고 있습니다. The late Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, and of course, that was such an iconic performance at Live Aid back in 1985. It's often regarded as one of, if not the greatest live performance by a musical artist. And, it was at such an important event because it was for charity purposes.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, he got the crowd so into the event itself that, it was a very memorable event from everyone that attended.
Yeah.
And the critics certainly remember that, as it lives to this date 40 years later.
Exactly. It was 1985, Live Aid in the UK, when famous musicians got together, they performed, and all the money went to charity. And that inspired American musicians to then come up with USA for Africa.
Yes.
So it was a sort of similar concept. Famous musicians came together and they sang We Are the World, and all of that money, again, went to charity. So, Freddie Mercury played a really big part in that Live Aid performance. 1985년, 벌써 40년이 됐습니다.
And I think the pose that they're talking about in regards to what's actually on the coin, that's also like an iconic shot, like just with his head tilted back, holding the mic, in his hand. It's sort of this image that everyone has in their head of that concert.
맞아요. 자, 근데 여기서 Britain's Royal Mint라고 했는데요. 이건 우리 그 박하사탕 민트가 아니라 조폐국을 얘기하고 있습니다. It's where they make coins. So this particular commemorative coin has an image of Freddie Mercury mid-performance.
Mid-performance, meaning in the middle of his performance. So mid here is short for middle, although mid-performance is one word. And it's just saying it was during his performance. It was in the middle of it. While he was actually performing on the stage, that is the image that was captured for this coin. It was in the middle of it, not at the start. It was saying, hey, everybody, or, as he's addressing the audience. It's like an action shot.
It is. Now, if I were to interrupt you in the middle of your sentence, which I thought about doing but didn't, then I would have interrupted you mid-sentence.
Yes, correct.
그래요. Mid something, 뭐뭐 한가운데라는 의미가 있는 한 단어예요. 그래서 우리가 한여름밤의 꿈, Midsummer Night's Dream, 그 다음에 쇼 중간에 그러면 mid-show 이렇게 말할 수도 있겠고 문장을 얘기하고 있는데 그 중간에 mid-sentence.
Some cities will have a mid-town. Like there's
really?
downtown, right? Or uptown in some places. But some places they'll have a midtown.
Midtown.
Yeah, these are usually dated from history. So that they've called it like that for 100 years and stuff. But certain cities they'll have like a midtown area. Some places they'll call it a downtown. Like in Seoul, I don't know if you really call it downtown so much, I guess. Like the Jongno area, maybe.
Yeah, it kind of changes too, doesn't it?
Yeah, but like in Vancouver, there's like a very distinct downtown.
Okay.
But some places they'll call it midtown.
Interesting. 자, 여기서는 mid-performance입니다. 공연 중이었던 Freddie Mercury, 고인이 된 Freddie Mercury의 모습이 기념 주하에 있습니다. He has a mic in hand, or mic stand in hand.
Mic stand in hand. He was very famous for holding the microphone stand in his hand rather than just the microphone. And when you have something in hand, it just means that you have it in your hand.
Yeah.
It could be in his hand, but it's just like the his has been removed to make it shorter and just to say in hand. So, you'll hear things this way in English every now and then where, there seems to be a word that's missing.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of accepted that way.
It's a phrase, isn't it?
Exactly.
So right now, Jason is on live radio with script in hand. 이렇게 얘기할 수 있어요.
And as an example, people will say that I'm in-house. So I'm actually here in the building. Sure. I'm in-house. I'm not remote somewhere else or calling in from a telephone. I'm in-house.
네, 하나의 표현인데 in hand, something in hand. 그러면 손에 무언가를 쥐고라는 뜻입니다. 물론 이걸 풀어서 말해도 돼요. You could say Freddie Mercury has a microphone stand in his hand 라고 해도 되지만 그러면 그때 그냥 손에 마이크를 쥐고 있는 약간 뭐라 그럴까요? 풀어서 말하는 느낌이에요.
It doesn't sound as cool. Like it's kind of a weird way of saying it, but
it's right there.
Yeah, but like when you say stand in hand, also there's a rhyme there, right?
Yeah.
So stand in hand, like it's got a nice ring to it, and when you know phrases like this and you show that you have a command of the English language, it kind of sounds more cool.
It does.
Is the best way I can say it. And there's another phrase that we hear with this. Was it like a bird in hand is worth more than two in the bush?
Oh yeah.
So if you have like
the one? Yeah.
One bird in hand, I mean you have the bird in your hand right now, it's better than two in the bush because if there's two in the bush, then you might have zero in your hand.
Exactly. A bird in hand is worth two in the bush.
Yeah. Is better than two in the bush.
It's better than two in the bush. 맞아요. 그런 saying이 있었죠. 자, 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Britain's Royal Mint has issued a new commemorative coin featuring the late Freddie Mercury mid-performance, head thrown back and microphone stand in hand to mark 40 years since his iconic Live Aid performance.
Health experts warn that hot chocolate served with whipped cream and other toppings can do more harm than good due to its sugar content, which is typically more than double that of a standard candy bar.
겨울철 인기 음료인 핫초콜릿이 함께 곁들여지는 휘핑크림 등 각종 토핑 때문에 초콜릿바 2개 분량이 넘는 당분을 함유하게 돼 결과적으로는 건강에 득보다 실이 많을 수 있다는 전문가들의 지적이 나왔습니다. Alright, so we love our holiday hot chocolate, but we have to be a little bit careful. Tell us why.
I think if you were going to have just the hot chocolate,
It's
might
okay.
not. Yeah, it might not be so bad.
They did actually say that's okay, yeah.
Yeah, when they're talking about the whipped cream and how much sugar is in the whipped cream, there's other toppings like they mentioned, like the sprinkles and other things that you put in. I know when I was a kid, I would always put in like the mini marshmallows.
Yeah,
and I know marshmallows are basically made of nothing but sugar.
Exactly.
So when you add all that up, then, these things can be really bad for you because they do say with hot chocolate, because it has milk content, that it can be healthy in terms of, well, there's calcium in there because milk has calcium. But when you add all these other sugars up, then, well, now all of a sudden, even if it were good for you to a certain degree, overall, it might be bad for you.
Exactly. So hot chocolate on its own, 그냥 보통 핫초콜릿을 마시는 것은 괜찮아요. 문제는 뭐냐면 특히 추워질수록 또 이 크리스마스 분위기에 맞춰서 예쁘게 한다고 whipped cream, sprinkles, chocolate, marshmallow, 무슨 파우더 이런 거를 얹히게 되면은 당분 함량이 아주 많이 올라가는 거죠.
Yeah.
All right, so if you do that, then hot chocolate's going to do more harm than good.
Yeah, and basically what this is saying, harm is something that hurts you, right? And good is obviously something, that's good for you. So it's just saying it's going to hurt you more than it's going to help you.
Yeah.
Or it's more bad for you than it is good for you. Basically what I was just saying. And we do say this quite a bit. It's a common saying that it does more harm than good. So it's a very common saying that we do say.
Yeah. 정말 많이 쓰는 표현입니다. It does more harm than good. 득보다는 실이 많다. 이로운 점보다는 해로운 점이 많다. Now, what about that of? So, hot chocolate with all these toppings have more than double the sugar content than that of a normal candy bar.
So that, often when we say that or use that in a sentence, it's referring to something, right? So what is the something in this particular case? In this case, it is the amount. So the amount of sugar that is in a standard candy bar. So when you're saying that of something, well, it's in this case, it'd be the amount of something that we're referring to. What is it? It's the amount of sugar that's found in a standard candy bar.
그러니까 앞에 언급된 개념이나 명사를 다시 반복하지 않고 이거를 이제 뭐 대명사처럼 that of라고 하는 게 여기서 뭐냐면은요. It is typically more than double the sugar content of를 이제 확 줄여가지고 표현한 거예요. 바로 앞에 슈가 컨텐트 한번 나왔는데 또 나오면 영어는 이제 이런 문장을 별로 좋아하진 않으니까 그래서 줄임말이라고 표현을 해야 될까요? 축약이 됐다고 생각하시면 될 것 같습니다. Of course, there are some sentences where you'll have repetitive words and, sometimes it's okay, but generally speaking, English doesn't like repetition.
Yeah, they don't like things, we call it redundancy or being redundant.
Yeah.
And in English, especially in the same sentence or consecutive sentences, you always try to find a different way of saying the same thing.
Exactly. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. Health experts warn that hot chocolate served with whipped cream and other toppings can do more harm than good due to its sugar content, which is typically more than double that of a standard candy bar. Here's our next headline.
A 141-year-old Galapagos tortoise nicknamed Grandma, the oldest resident of the San Diego Zoo in the U.S., has been euthanized due to deteriorating bone conditions related to her advanced age.
141세 나이로 샌디에이고 동물원의 최고령 동물이었던 Grandma라는 이름의 갈라파고스 땅거북 이 고령으로 인한 심각한 골격 질환 때문에 안락사한 것으로 전해졌습니다. So, grandma.
Grandma.
Sounds like grandma, which is, but that's just how we say it. Grandma.
Yeah.
Grandma. She's roughly 141 years old. We don't know exactly how old she is, do we?
Yeah, sometimes with animals like this, because when they, if they were to have captured it from natural places, then they don't know the exact age when it was captured. So we're going based on what they do know. So they're, guessing that it should be roughly.
Yeah, exactly. 그래서 정확히 언제 샌디에고 주에 오게 됐는지를 알 순 없대요. 이게 1928년일 수도 있고 1931년일 수도 있다라고 하고요. 그다음에 또 언제 태어났는지도 이제 추정을 하는 건데 그 추정된 것으로 인해서 141세 정도의 나이에 이제 하늘나라 무지개 뭐라 그러죠? 무지개 다리를 건넜다 이렇게 표현을 할 수 있을 것 같아요. Alright, so grandma was the nickname. She was nicknamed Grandma.
Yeah, a nickname is a name that you're kind of known for. It's not the name that you've been given by your parents or typically who names you, but it's sort of like what you're known as. And a lot of people have nicknames. I remember a nickname that I had when I was in high school was Motor Mouth because I talked a
Really?
lot. It was one of the nicknames. It was Motor Mouth.
Wow.
I've also had the nickname of Scout because I would always kind of scout other athletes and stuff. So it's like, things like that. Did you ever have a nickname when you were younger?
Yeah, cherry tomato, because when I ran the 100-meter sprint, I always ended up looking like a cherry tomato, according to my friends. Like bright red and small and round. So like cherry tomato. And then this one theme park, which I won't name, there's a mascot there. People said I looked a bit like that. So, yeah. I had a few nicknames.
Yeah, so nicknames, they're often names that other people give you rather than something that you give yourself. It's just, somebody will call you something and then everyone seems to like that and all of a sudden you've got a different nickname.
그렇죠. 자, 이 갈라파고스 거북의 별명이 바로 Grandma였습니다. Gramma 이렇게 썼어요. 원래는 사실 이제 할머니를 쓰는 스펠링이 Grandma, grandma. 이것도 원래는 또 grandmother이지만 그냥 우리 발음하기 편하게 스펠링을 해도 되고 이름은 고유명사니까 마음대로 해도 되죠. So her name was Grandma. She was nicknamed that, And she was sadly euthanized recently. And this was due to her deteriorating health.
Yes, and something that is deteriorating is getting lesser or weaker or, sort of disappearing, it could be. So in this particular case, as you mentioned, her health was deteriorating. Her health was getting worse or weaker.
그렇죠. deteriorating이라고 하면은 점점 악화된다라는 뜻인데 건강 악화로 인해서 결국은 안락사했다. Well, she lived to see 4 U.S. presidents, as you can imagine, 141 years.
It must be more than 4 U.S. presidents. It must be more than that.
Oh, is it more than that? Maybe it was more than that. It could have been, actually.
141 years.
Actually, yeah, you're right. I must double check this. But she lived to see a lot of American history. Oh, not 4, 20. Where did I get my 4 from? She lived to see 20 presidents. Yeah, that makes more sense, doesn't it? Yeah. And she is now in, I'm sure, animal heaven land.
Yeah.
자, 그러면은 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. A 141-year-old Galapagos tortoise, nicknamed Grandma, the oldest resident of the San Diego Zoo in the U.S., has been euthanized due to deteriorating bone conditions related to her advanced age. And here's our final headline.
A vintage jewel-studded Fabergé egg that belonged to the mother of Russia's last emperor is regarded as one of the most lavish of Fabergé's imperial creations, has been sold for almost 23 million pounds at auction.
러시아의 마지막 황제의 어머니 소유로 유명 보석 세공사 Fabergé가 황실의 의뢰를 받아 만든 보석 장식품인 Fabergé 달걀 시리즈 중에서도 화려하기로 소문난 작품 한 점이 경매에서 거의 2,300만 파운드, 즉 우리 돈으로 445억 원에 달하는 가격에 낙찰됐습니다.
That is a lot of money
For a little
an
egg.
egg. And there was a previous record that broke as an egg, and that was a Rothschild egg that sold for 8.9 million pounds. So this is much more than double, almost triple the previous record. So yeah, somebody really wanted this egg.
그래요. 이 모양새가 그냥 투명한 달걀처럼 생겼고요. 그 다음에 여기는 마치 눈송이들이 하나하나 맺혀 있는 것처럼 snowflakes가 이렇게 붙어 있는 것처럼 굉장히 아름답습니다. Alright. Well, this is regarded as one of the most lavish of Fabergé's eggs.
Yeah, when something is regarded as something, it could be seen as or known as something. So everyone, the general public, they kind of accept this to be this.
Yeah.
It's regarded as.
뭐뭐로 여겨지다. What about lavish?
Something that is lavish is very expensive or maybe even unnecessary, but in a good way, or I guess.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
something that's so not needed but nice to have.
Like a luxury good.
Yeah, like a luxurious item.
Yeah, yeah. 굉장히 화려하다라는 뜻으로 보시면 될 것 같아요. 좀 호화롭기도 하고. 자, 그러면 다시 읽어보겠습니다. A vintage jewel-studded Fabergé egg that belonged to the mother of Russia's last emperor is regarded as one of the most lavish of Fabergé's imperial creations. It's been sold for almost £23 million at auction. All right, well, that's it for the headlines this morning with Jason Lee.